Hey, 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 this is Munson Steed, and you are in the Rolling Out Writers Room. And when it comes to writing, when you think about phenomenal writers, Kimberly Allen has a hit. I love it. Kimberly, let our audience know the name of your hot show.
Cold and windy.
You know,
Cold and windy. It's hot.
it's hot. It's hot. It's hot. Share with where were you and when you got invited, and how did this idea come about, and what are you doing in the writers' room so that our viewers can know just what it feels like to be in the writers' room of a hot show?
Wow, that's quite a bit. Let's see. Let's start with how I got invited. And I got invited by the creator, one of the creators of the show, and his name is Kenny Young. And I've known Kenny for many years. I've been involved with writing since I've been in LA, and I've always been a part of writers groups, Organization of Black Screenwriters, and just various storytelling. He has a storytellers group, which I'm involved with. And I always bring work that reflect my passion for TV writing. And so he knew that that I had a strength there. And so he called me one day and said, "Hey, I sold my show and I would love for you to be a writer on it. Would you like to be one?" And those are words I've been waiting to hear for 20 something years. But yeah, that's how I got invited. And this is season one. Actually, tonight, the 7th episode of season one is airing. And it's been like a little bit over a year that we've been in this process. So last year, well, the year before last, we were writing. Then we shot early, I would say the spring of last year. And now we're just now releasing everything. So it aired January 5th of 2023. And there's 8 episodes this season. So it's just a great experience. And it's something I've always wanted to do.
So in thinking about that, take our audience, if you would, first reading, the scripts being developed, you're a part of the team. What should an individual know if they want to be you?
Well, first and foremost, if anybody who's just now getting into writing, I would just say you want to educate yourself. You need to read scripts. I would say read books, take classes. Those are things that I do and still do. Have done and still do it. And it's important to just get a knack for the way that writing is, because every type of writing is a different type of muscle that you use. So like if you're a novelist, you use one type of muscle. When you're screenwriting, it's different. And then even with TV is a little bit different from movie writing. So it's good to kind of learn all of those things and just kind of see what you like and what you gravitate towards. And I just say get involved with writers groups. It's nothing like connecting with other writers, and having writers groups is a very valuable thing because you want feedback. You write, writing is rewriting. So when you have developed your story and you have other writers read it and they give you notes, it kind of gives you an idea of what other people see when they're reading your work. So those are some of the steps. I mean, my journey was kind of it's been a long journey. I mean, I was writing before I came to LA, but I was writing more like journalism. I went to school for journalism at Wayne State University in Detroit. And I just realized that even though I love writing, I didn't want to pursue reporting or journalism. I would rather, write stories and TV, be creative in that aspect.
So describe, if you would, and give it a name, the muscle that it takes to be a screenwriter for television.
TV is a visual medium, television and movies, visual medium. And so whatever you describe in your story, it's kind of like you envision it and how you see it. For me, I started out when I was very young. It just was something I liked to do, not trying to pursue a career, but just as a kid, I used to watch a lot of television. And back then we didn't have, I'm dating myself, but we didn't have VCRs. So I would take my tape recorder and put it next to the TV, and I would tape all my favorite shows and listen to them over and over again. And you get a sense of the rhythm of dialogues, particularly sitcoms. I used to watch a lot of sitcoms, and you get it's a natural rhythm to the joke telling, to the characters. You get to see the characters and you kind of understand their voices and know their voices. And I think when you're writing TV, most people are hooked on television shows because of the characters. So you want to develop those characters. You want to know where they're going, why they do what they do, what makes them tick. And that's why people tune in all the time. They want to see what this character is going to do next week. So that's one of the main things, is tapping into people, understanding your characters, understanding the structure and the rhythm of your story.
When you think of rhythm of a story or rhythm of a joke, and you've got these two young, dynamic, energetic women, what's their rhythm like? The characters now, when you think of Wendy and Cole, what's that rhythm like?
Well, so the story takes place in Chicago, and there's two best friends that are very close. They were raised together like sisters, and they are on this journey to be in this music journey. And it's kind of like a hip hop vibe. It's specific to Chicago. It's called drill music. That they're into the drill culture. And so you have Cole and Wendy. They have been rapping for years. They're trying to make it, but they have slightly different views and takes on things, as all people, you never have two people that are exactly the same. You always have one person who wants one thing and another person who wants something else, which makes it interesting. So that's what you have with Cole and Wendy. Malika, who plays Cole, she's a mother, single mom. Don't want to have any spoiler alerts, but she just to keep it real simple, she lost her son to the system of foster care, and so she is on a journey trying to get her son back, and the path that she's on is a hindrance for that. And you have Wendy, who she seems a bit more raw, can be a little reckless. She really likes the street life, and she wants to live up to everything that they rap about. And so sometimes they bump heads in what they want, you know what I'm saying? So it's really you have the drama between them, and then you have the drama of the streets, and then you have their family life. So that I don't want to give away too much, because I want people to tune in, but it's really. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. As a writer, though, when you're able to give, if you would, individuals in the room, because I want people to know the writer's room, you're going to write some notes. What have you written that when you, out of these like first 7 episodes, when you heard your lines, what did it say back to you after they had delivered them?
Oh my God. It was one of the best experiences. I got a chance to actually be on set for the shooting of my episode, and just hearing the lines and hearing, and even sitting with the director, and how she interpreted what I'd written was priceless. When I was writing, so first and foremost, in the writer's room, just to give people an idea of what that's like. So television shows are written by a group of people. It's not a specific number of people, but usually it's like 5 to 7 people that may be in a writer's room. And you have to do something called break story. So you just kind of break down, what the show is going to look like in a season. And you have to keep whittling it down to, which episode is going to contain what information. And your characters are going to go on, each of your characters are going on a journey. As the episodes progress, the characters progress. And so each writer is typically assigned an episode. And so you write your episode, you bring it back to the room, and then they chop it up. You have to, that's another thing about this industry when you're working with TV, and it's collaborative. It's very collaborative. So you have to understand that it's the vision of the creator of the show, and you have to buy into that vision, and you have to work towards, you have to have unity in working towards the vision of the show. It doesn't mean that your voice isn't important, because you definitely are there to infuse your experiences, your voice, your insight into your characters. But overall, you're working towards one goal, and that's to create a great show. And so you have to give input. So we all gave input to each other. When it was your turn for your script to be brought to the table, you have to go through the notes. And then once you go through the notes in your room and it's submitted to the network, then the network has notes. And the network sends back notes, and then you have to address those notes. So it's not like whatever you write on the page is going to stay there necessarily. You have to be willing to bend. You have to be willing to, you can't have ego, in the room. You have to be able to say, oh, okay, I'll change this. Or if it's something that you believe in, you can't stand up for it. Sometimes you're in the room, like, for example, this is a female-driven show. And you have two main characters are female. And so you have male writers, you have female writers in the room. And there's certain things that, we experience as women would know these things. And you want to make sure that you get certain points across, So if you have experience in certain things, like I'm a mother, and if someone, I've been in rooms, not particularly this one, but I've been in a writer's room where there were no parents no mothers. And so when I gave my example of something, then, when I gave my example of what I felt was a real experience and an authentic reaction to something, then it was valuable. It was valued in the room. So that's why we're there as writers, because we all come from different walks of life and different places and different experiences. And you want to be able to get that across in the room. So, but overall, it's a great room. I mean, everybody is very respectful of everybody. We have a lot of fun. I come from a very comedic, most of my writing is comedic. So to be on a show where, people are shooting boats, it's a little, just a little bit different. But I used to tell them, even if I crack a joke in the room, I'm like, what, criminals laugh. We can put this joke in here. But I was able to, tap into that part of me that's not so comedic, the dramatic part. And I felt like my particular episode number 5, it really hit home with a lot of people as far as the emotion was concerned. And I got a lot of feedback from family and friends and people that I don't even know who saw the episode. And it made me feel good to know that they could connect to it.
So if you could write a comedy about Detroit and people running a Coney Island, what would the comedy be about? And you only got 2 characters.
Wow, that's you're putting me on the spot. Well, you know what? I could see. Well, first of all, you're an establishment that's very common for, you don't go to Detroit and don't go to Coney Island. and there's one on every corner. And I can relate to a lot of food type scenarios, you know, and just growing up, going to Coney Island, you know, me and my friends after high school, you know, it's just so many different things. So the characters really would be the crux of the story. Coney Island just happens to be the place that's familiar, but it would just be, it really would be based on who those characters are. You know, are they family members owning the Coney Island? You know, are they people that just are employees? You know, and what do they want? It's hard to just kind of pull a scenario out, but it really would be about the characters, and the Coney Island would just be the place because so many people go there and they can relate to it. It's definitely a Detroit thing.
But you know, I obviously have love for the D, and it's one of those things that when I think about or dream about writing, I always feel like the Coney Islands just aren't Black enough. You know what I mean? So I can just imagine a Black Coney Island that is really Black, Blacky, Black on Black, you know, and just having it kind of like car wash. You know what I mean? And everybody's meeting at this particular Coney Island, and you know, on 8 Mile, and we just sitting there, and everybody goes there, and it's that moment. And like you said, it's just who's gonna be there, who's running it. And the fact that, you know, it's just another good day because, you know, for $3 we both split, blah, blah, blah. And that's how it was, and da, 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 da. And it went down. But everybody we got to meet to colonize so we can at least have a little bit of comfort, because this city is hard at times, but we're going to be able to grab a Coney Island at such and such. So kind of like car wash, with the characters and the people that are coming by, and you know,
yeah, you'll have your regulars like Cheers, you know, same people come in and go out every day, and that's how it is at Coney Island. Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of the, you know, when you say cheers, I say flood. So when you say cheers, I say flood. So just a kind of feeling that, you know, you go in, you have that. And that's what I love about Detroit, the characters. But with some of the renaissance of filmmaking here, the guys making film, that's kind of the stories. But I really loved your vision and sharing. What would you say that you would want to see? And obviously no things that are on the whiteboard now for yourself, but as a writer, what does it take to stretch your imagination? And how important is it to have an imagination when you're a writer?
Oh, imagination is vital. I can't see being a writer without one. Your imagination is an extension of, you know, it's an extension of your environment. And it's like just, you know, taking something very simple and just allowing that thing to grow and to develop. And so I think stretching myself for me is writing in genres that I'm not used to writing in, like horror, for example. Horror is not something that I normally watch, and I, you know, I watched a lot of horror growing up, but you know, in my older years, I've kind of like gravitated towards drama and comedy on television. And so I'm involved with a group, it's a project that I did, it's a proof of concept called Ticker. And it has like different types of stories. They're all short form, short stories. And so I co-wrote a horror story with another writer. And it was a lot of fun, actually. It was really a lot of fun because it was just so different for me to go that route. And I think it's a good idea for all writers to try something different, you know, get out of your comfort zone, try something new.
So season 2, you think, Wendy and Cole?
We're praying. we are hoping that we get a season 2, and so far we had a great response. As far as I can see, people are liking the show, tuning in every week, and I'm just believing that we will have a season 2. Well, I'm hopeful. I'm very hopeful. So.
Last question. If you could write on a sitcom and it was one that we all love and cherish in the Black genre, what show would it be, and what character would you have the most pleasure writing their lines?
Are you talking about a show that exists, or are you talking about a show that I would make up?
I'm actually talking. I'm glad you asked that. I'm talking about a show that kind of like was in the '70s, like whether it be Good Times or it was just any sitcom that's been Black that has been done. If you could write it today, which one would you pick?
Oh, from back in the day. Oh my God. My very favorite show is A Different World. A Different World. I mean, that's not the 70s, like the 80s. 70s, I would say, I love the Jeffersons. I love Good Times. I love the Jeffersons. I watch, Give Me a Break. I can go down the line.
I got you. No,
but A Different World probably stood out to me because that's the first time I just saw Black college life, and it just changed the way I thought about college, and it opened up so many different ideas for me as a writer, and yeah, I think it would be that.
Cool. Well, I appreciate us spending time in the Rolling Out Writers Room today. It's been a joy. Ladies and gentlemen, standing ovation for Kimberly Allen in the Rolling Out Writers Room. Kimberly, it's been a joy, and I thank you so much for all that you continue to give, and congratulations on the Cole and Wendy success, and hopefully more successes to come.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.